Hi, Ann Cornick with Paint and Porcelain, and I'm here to recruit painters to paint along with me and to teach beginners how to get started in China painting. We're going to get started now on painting the last fire on our pansies. So I'm going to bring you down so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to do the last fire on the pansies. Now you remember when we painted this initially, we only had the front pansies done on the first coat. Then we did the background on the second coat. So the background only has one level of paint on it, and it really probably needs two. So I looked at the colors and I decided which color I like the best. And the color I like the best, I think, is the pansy purple. Now, you may have used royal violet, you may have used royal purple. And if you did, look at your colors, all the colors that you used on the piece, and decide which color you think would be the best, because that's what you're going to do predominantly around the border and also as your shadows. And that's how you make it uniform. I kind of wanted it to be monochrome, so that's why I did it this way. So now I've decided that I'm going to do this in pansy purple. Now, you'll remember the last time I said I didn't think pansy purple was out there anymore. Well, I was wrong. It is. You get a vial about this size for $9.95 from Dallas, China, if you want to get pansy purple. I told you it's not cheap. These colors are pretty expensive, but at least it is available, and it's a beautiful purple. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to load it with ink, and I'm going to start, as I did every time up until now, with the leaves, and I'm going to back them up. I'm going to put it on the leaves to make it a shadow. And then I'm also going to do this part of the leaf down here, because the sun, you can see the light is coming from above, and I'm going to that. Then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do the same thing around this pansy up here. Just a little bit of the pansy purple. Turning my plate, I'm going to hit back here in the back and do this leaf with the pansy purple. And I'm also going to do the pansy purple up here behind the little blue pansy, because I want it to really stand out. Turning my plate again, now I'm going towards the pink pansy. I'm going to paint. Let me get a little more paint on my brush here. I'm going to paint over that, throwing it into the background. And then I'm going to continue on to this leaf here. And with that leaf, the one I'm working on up here, I'm also going to put some pansy purple on the side that goes under the little pink pansy. So that's what I've done so far. Oops, sorry. Okay, and this is the last leaf I worked on right here. Okay, now I'm coming over here, and I'm going to continue the rest of the way around. And I'm going to put pansy purple up in here. And I'm going to put some pansy purple on this. And I'm also going to put a little on the underside. And then finally, I'm going to put pansy purple right here on this sleeve. Now with the other colors on there, it may not appear that I'm doing a whole lot, but it does darken the leaf. And on that leaf, I'm also going to do, and I bet you can guess, this underside here. Just a tad. Now putting the purple over is a good shadow at this point. Now you remember we did a dark black blue under here. So I'm going to take my black blue, going to mix it with my pansy purple, and I'm just going to go in there and put a little more color in there. And I'm going to pull it out just a little so it's not so close there, okay? All right, now on the flower, and this will be the same with all the flowers that we have here. You're going to start as you did in the past and just go into this section here of this. Well, let's start with this one back here, okay? You're going to, the back petal, you're going to take and you're going to get some pansy purple on there, and you're just going to go dark. A little more pansy purple, you're going to move up. You're going to do these on this side. You're going to do these on this side if you think they need it. It's entirely up to you whether or not you think this needs to be much darker. And then you'll take it and you'll just put it a little bit around the edge. And the same thing on the other side. Turn your plate. I know it's probably making you dizzy. And put it a little bit, oh, I'm sorry, I'm up here. Put it a little bit around the edge. And here you have that little curl. Do you see that little curl right there? Right there. You're going to go under that, like that. Now, if you get paint on the sections that you want to keep white, you just take your brush, rinse it in your mineral oil, mineral spirits, and just clean it off really well and then pull the paint off. If you leave the mineral spirits on there, unfortunately, it will start everything running on you. So there's what we've done so far. And then we'll do this part. Now, I think I've got enough color on the whiskers there. So the only place I'm going to put any pansy purple is on the base, on the outside edge of that bottom petal there. And there we have it. Oops, sorry. There we have it. Okay. So then I'm going to do the same thing on the blue. Now I don't want to lose the blue, so I'm just going to start with the back up here, the very back. And I'm just going to take and, oops, I'm going to put a little purple up in there. And I'm just going to do a little shadow up in here on this side so that the top leaf kind of goes behind the bottom leaf. But I've left the blues because I want it to be a blue pansy. So this is an example of where you don't need to necessarily do every part of the flower on the final coat. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I may want that leaf up at the top to go a little further under. I may want to cut out, and you can do that if you're really careful. You can use the purple to kind of cut out into the, did you see how I made a little ruffle up there? Right there, that little dent. I made that little ruffle when I backed up the leaf. And this leaf I backed up before. Okay, so now I can do this little guy up here, and I'm not going to do much. I'm going to do it pretty much like I did this guy. I'm just going to turn my plate upside down, and I'm going to do this upper part here, and the same thing on the other side here. I'm going to do a little here. Always painting towards yourself. Now I think, let me show you. I think, hang on, let me get this so it's working for me a little better. There we go. I think that I took a little too much off this petal here, this petal on that side. So I'm going to turn the plate towards me, and I'm just going to clean my brush, and I'm just going to pull it out. pull it out. So it's a little bigger of a petal. And I kind of like that contrast, so I'm going to leave that. Okay. So now we're getting into the background. I pretty much have decided, now you don't touch the buds yet. If you touch the buds too early, when you do the background, you're just going to mess them up anyway. So I do the whole background the way I want it, and then I go back and I add color to the buds. And in some instances, I may need to take my mineral spirits and really clean my brush off really well and go in and clean off the background color that I accidentally get on these before I add more color to them. Now we're going to do the background. I'm a sloppy painter and I'm proud of it. So I'm going to take my pansy and just, you know, we talked about the crosshatch. You need to have a little more oil on your brush now. And I'm just going to crosshatch the background like this. And you think, oh my goodness. Well, I don't want it to be so monochrome that I can't stand it. And so I'm going to take a little forget-me-not blue and just dab on there. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay. And then I'm going to lightly take, and remember how we talked about whisking using that light touch? I'm going to go right over my name, the signature that we did early on, and I'm just going to add the color in. Okay, that's the blue that I added in there. Now I'm going to take my pansy purple. I'm going to put it out here. We're turning our plate as we work. And I'm going to just slap it out here. This is the fun part. So those of you, Janie, if you're a new painter, this is something that'll be easy to do. It looks, I think I probably make it look a little easier than it is. The hardest thing is getting that nice light touch. And I'm going to take some berry and I'm just going to slap that in with it here. I don't know if you could tell this is berry. There, maybe you can tell better there. Yeah. Okay. Oh. So this is the berry. And I'm just going to take then and play with it very lightly until I get it all blended the way I want. And if I think it needs more purple down here, I can slap more purple down there. If it starts getting muddy, you may have to start over. So what I typically do is I apply the purple and then I take and I apply the color. And that way I don't think it gets quite so muddy, but you never know. And then where it meets the blue, you have to smooth that out because you want it to be nice. Now you notice I went over this leaf here. Can you see how I decimated that leaf? So I'm going to take my mineral spirits and I'm just going to go in. Okay, and very gently, I'm just going to pull the color out. Okay, let me see what I did there. Alrighty. So now we're back into the background. I do want to get a little more color in here. So I could use a heliotrope or I could use a pretty pink and just add more color. Go right over your buds. It's not going to matter. You can wipe those buds out. You can also just leave some light patches just to give a little bit of drama. So a lot of times I will just leave a light patch because I want drama. Okay, now I've gone far enough on that side. I think I'm going to go over on this side and do a little of the blue. I'm going to take and do my pansy purple around the edge. And this was freshly mixed. Pansy purple can be a little grainy. So when you do mix it, kind of watch it, test it on your, maybe on your tile before you start painting your piece, just to make sure that you got all the grain out of it. Can you see how I'm doing that? Trying to keep the glare off there. And I will take my pansy purple and I will just dab it around. Here, let me turn a little bit so you can see a little better there. Dab it around. And now I will clean my brush and get a little of the forget-me-not and just slap it on. You could use baby blue. Here's what baby blue looks like. So this is the baby blue over here. This is the forget-me-not. If you don't have forget-me-not, baby blue works. You don't have to have the colors I'm showing you just because I'm showing them to you. You can use any colors you want. If you don't like this color combination, you can do it all in pinks and purples. You could do it all in blues and purples. And then we're doing the light feather touch. And remember last week we talked about the fact that in order to do that, you take your brush and you just practice and you barely touch. So if you have paint on your brush and you get paint on your hand, you're going too heavy. You just barely touch. And that's how you know that you've got the right touch there. You hold your brush back at the edge. You don't hold it near the beginning as much. You hold it near the edge. And that gives you kind of a marbleized effect. Here, I'm having trouble with this. Let me come this way. There. You get a little marbleized effect. Can you see how that works? Now, let's say, oh my God, you got too much purple on there, you know? You just feel like it's really too much purple and it's more than you can bear. I'm going to turn this light down just a tad. I think that'll help. There we go. Okay. So, you can just go ahead with the blue and just keep adding the blue. And that will change your whole piece. I like the purple as the frame around it, but you could do the blue if you want. And then if you think it's too much, bring the purple in. And go around the piece and just keep adding the purple. Go right over those buds, it's not going to matter. Okay, so you get the idea. Now the only other color would be the yellow, and with the yellow I start with the purple first and then I do the yellow. So I'm going to do the purple up in here. And if you think you have enough yellow, leave it. If you want more yellow, you can add it. I kind of think we're at the point where I'm pretty happy with it. If I add more, this is what it's going to look like. And then I just feather that up. And this time you have to keep wiping off your brush, because what you want to do is take the yellow into the dark. When you're taking a light color into the dark, you really need to take the color off your brush so that it doesn't stay on you, you know, so that it doesn't pull further into the piece. So you clean your brush really well on your paper towel and then pull out. Put a little more yellow on your brush and pull out, and that will get rid of, see, that will get rid of a lot of the, it'll help the yellow move out into the other area. So now I pretty much painted over this little guy down here in the corner. That's a little, like a seed pod after it's been out for a while. I'm going to take a smaller brush. I was using my 1/2 inch the whole time. Now I'm going to go down to maybe a berry brush. If I have one, let me see here. Well, I have this, which is my number 4. It's a nice little brush. It's not too big. And all I'm doing is I'm going to start by wiping it out. So I'm going to take my mineral spirits and really, and I'm messing up the bottom, and I don't care, because you can go back in and clean up the bottom. I'm wiping out the color that got over that. Can you see how the little highlight came back when I wiped off that color? Up here I didn't get much on that one, so I just wipe out that little bit. Over on this side, I got quite a bit on this piece, this one here, so I'm wiping it out. Can you see that? Wiping it out. Taking the color off of it, the background color off of it. Okay. Now, you have a decision to make. If you think you need more color over in here, you can do that. If you want a little, let's say blue-black, you can add it to the base here. And maybe a little to the base there, like that. You see how I did that on the one side, just a little shadowy color there? You can do that. The other thing you can do is on this little guy down here, you may want to add a little brown green or a warm, or maybe even a black green, just underneath the base of him, right here. I know it's exaggerated, and part of that is because I'm trying to paint dark enough that you can see what I'm doing. Oops. So now I've gotten my hand in down at the bottom here. Can you see that? Right in through there, I got my hand in there. I'm just going to take a little oil, a little bit of the purple, and I'm just going to feather it. So then stand back from your piece. Set your piece out where you can see it. Really look at it. Like I think up in here, it's a little dark. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do a little cross hatching. Down here in the corner, I think it's a little dark. Not real smooth. Okay. And if you decide you don't like all the blue over on this side, you can certainly take and just add more purple in there. You can add a little more purple over here. You can add purple up in this area. We didn't really do that area up in that corner yet. But that's how it's going to basically turn out for you. Last thing you want to do, and you should do this even on every fire that you do background, is if you're leaving the edge plain, oops, there's a little spot there, run your finger around, or take a Kleenex and run it around and get all the paint off so that you have a nice clean edge. And before you put it in the kiln, make sure that you've done that. Now, you could go ahead and add gold to this if you want. That's entirely up to you. I would wait, fire it, and then put the gold on at the end. And after you've wiped off the edges, just go around, make sure that they're all nice and even. But that's basically it. We're done with the pansy plate. And thank you for painting with me. Hi, I hope you enjoyed the program, and I hope that you will watch future programs by liking and subscribing to my page. If you do subscribe, I would really appreciate it so that other people who have a similar interest will be able to see more of this kind of programming. I have studies available at my website along with products. If you're interested in finding out more about those, please look at the description box below. Thank you.